Today, we're going to talk about how I keep my knives sharp. I'm going to be resharpening this Buck 119. And to do that, I'm going to be using a Smith's oil stone, Smith's honing oil, and a leather strop that I have impregnated with white jeweler's rouge. Let's move to the bench. To get started, I'm going to set that aside. I also forgot to mention that I like to use blue shop towels for just about everything, but you'll want something handy. This knife is already fairly sharp, and I'm just touching it up. So I'm going to use the red side, or the fine side, of this stone. I'll show you. That's about how sharp it is right now. You don't want to skimp on the oil because it carries away the debris from your knife. I like to use circular motions, and I start rather flat and tip the knife up. If you practice a little bit, you can get the feel for where your edge is, because you don't want to go up higher than your edge. You want to maintain your current edge, unless you're changing the edge grind, which is a subject for another video. Let me know in the comments if you want to see a video on different edge grinds and how I use them. I like to use a circular motion. I found it works the best for me to keep from getting a burr on the edge. If you go back and forth hard, it tends to burr up the edge. You can see I pause every once in a while when I kind of lose my place, and I'm rocking the knife back and forth a little bit to find that flat spot where my edge is. Because if you ground your knife right, or if you have a properly ground knife, your sharp edge will be a flat plane, not a curve. You want that to be flat, not curved like this. Now, some of you might say you do want it curved, and that's another whole nother subject that we aren't going to dive into, is rolled edges. I've never successfully sharpened a rolled edge. That is not my forte. Again, I'm just simply using small circular motions and feeling for the flat of that blade. You can see I go back and forth frequently from side to side. You don't want to dwell on one side too much. It's also worth noting that I have laid this edge back quite a ways from what it was from the factory. You can see it's back to here. And when I say laid back, I've sharpened the knife flatter rather than at a harsher angle. This will give you a sharper edge. It also weakens the blade a little bit. This is something I learned by accident, but it works very well. I put a little bit of honing oil on top of my strop, and then I work the jeweler's rouge in. This gives you a holding paste. If you just use the Jeweler's Rouge dry on the leather strop, I've found that it'll flake off at times or stick to the blade of the knife. Also, I'm working on my 1.5 inch thick piece of granite that I tool my leather on and such. It's nice to work off the edge of something, especially if you have a knife with a hilt like this one, because if I was trying to do this on, say, a counter, it would be difficult to get the edge of the blade that I'm stropping right now onto the strop. Now this I am doing completely with rearward motions, not circular at all, because if I was to go forward, I would slice this strop right in half. It takes longer to set up a blade the way you want it, and I would also recommend that if you haven't done this a lot, or if you're just starting out sharpening your own knives, go out and buy some cheap knives. Practice sharpening cheap knives. They are softer steel and they won't take as good of an edge, but they're easy to sharpen because they're soft, and it's good practice. And then you're not out an expensive knife if you ruin the blade. It's definitely something that's worth learning. I'm going to wipe this off, roll this shop towel back up, the dry edge facing out, and you can see that this knife has a razor edge. Thanks for joining me for today's knife sharpening video. I appreciate all you who have watched this far. Now make sure and stay tuned, because I have here some 45 Colt black powder blanks, and that's coming up soon. We will see you on the next video.